Hey everybody, welcome to the final chase for the championship of the regular season. Man, where has the time gone? I'm telling you, it seems like yesterday we were just talking about starting the season and hoping to get through 13 games. But I digress. We got a lot of things to get to tonight. We're going to start off with Florida State. Can they win it all again? Short answer to that is yes, but we're gonna beef it up like, maybe not here. Tony Bennett and the Cavaliers, are they for real? I mean, they're a little shady suspect as of late. Can they get their act together just in time? And we got Duke and UNC Part 2 with a little bit more on the line this go around. I talked with Coach K about UNC's bigs and fans in the stands, and the Yellow Jackets peaking at the right time. Looks like they might be. We're gonna hear from them and all of your ACC favorites coming up. But we start at the top. The top team in the ACC, Florida State. And it may have been a rough start for Florida State, but they are finishing up with a flourish. A series of postponements has been the only thing that could stop the Seminoles. Otherwise, they're the top team in the league, and they look like it right now. And to find out just how good really is, we're going to head south to Florida, where we're going to hear from WMBB's Courtney Mims, covering the Seminoles for us. Courtney.
The Florida State Seminoles played their final home game of the season last night against Boston College. It was the first game the Noles played after head coach Leonard Hamilton agreed to a 5-year contract extension at Florida State on Monday. And his team definitely showed everybody last night on the court why he wants to stick around the program for a bit longer. The number 11 Noles took down Boston College 93-64, and the team has now won 25 straight conference home matchups, which is just one win away from setting the ACC record. The game was also senior night for Florida State, and so it was fitting one of the senior players honored also led the team in scoring as MJ Walker put up 18 points and hit 6 of his 9 attempts from behind the arc. Raekwon Gray was right behind him with 16 points on the night as well. Florida State is now 15-4 overall with the win and 11-3 in conference play. The Seminoles finished their regular season on Saturday at Notre Dame. Now, if FSU can win that one, or if Virginia loses on Saturday at Louisville, the Seminoles will clinch their second consecutive ACC regular season title and the number 1 seed in the conference tournament. Reporting on Florida State, I'm Courtney Mims.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Next time we see the Noles on the court, going to be this Saturday on the road when they take on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. That game set for a noon tip-off in Purcell Pavilion in South Bend for the latest on how Mike Bray and the Fighting Irish are doing. And it's been a bit bumpy as of late. We turn things over to the man that's been following them all year for us. That's none other than Chris Widlick. Chris.
Another ugly winless week for the Irish, where just ending a disappointing season seems to be on everyone's mind right now. First, a 94-90 loss to a Boston College team that recently fired head coach Jim Christian. Mike Bray calling it the ultimate trap game, a new Eagle bench boss and an energized team. Then with students allowed in for the first time in South Bend all year, another poor performance in an 11-point defeat to hot North Carolina State. And adding insult to injury, students booed as Bray left the court, chanting for the longtime coach to be fired. Here's his postgame response.
I'm committed here, and I'm certainly committed to this group, how it finishes for us this year. And we do have a good group coming back, and we have a real good big guy coming. I've thought about that a lot as we have dug through a little bit of everything. But, I'm also realistic about the big picture of things, too. And you want to continue to be effective here. And, I don't need to be told if I'm not being effective. I'm a pretty good judge of that. So that was well warranted by our students, because that was a poor performance. They should have been on me.
So after 21 seasons leading the Irish, 12 of them ending in the NCAA tournament, it sounds like Bray is mulling his future. All that's left now is Senior Day Sunday against Florida State to put a bow on a rough year. For Chase for the Championship, I'm Chris Widlick.
Good stuff, Chris. Thank you very much. The Virginia Cavaliers got off their losing skid with a win over Miami, but people are kind of looking at them with a little bit of a side eye. Are they for real? Can they get this done? Is that just a blip, or can they really win out? And to find out what's going on in Charlottesville, we'll turn things over to WRIC's Natalie Calabit to make sense of it all. Natalie.
It was a strange senior night at JPJ for Virginia, but it was a winning one as the Cavaliers ended a 3-game losing streak by beating Miami 62-51. Virginia ran out to a 41-30 halftime lead, and Tony Bennett credited his team's intensity for that.
I was impressed with the effort and heart that group that ended the majority of the first half and started the second half gave us. They came with heart and they came with effort.
Things slowed down after the break, but Virginia got the job done with its defense.
We got some really good looks in the second half, especially early, and just, didn't kind of capitalize on them. But because our guys were working hard, we got some stops.
And Sam Hauser took it from there, finishing with 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks.
He is a guy that, again, plays the game the right way, and he gave us a big lift at different times, and he's playing some good basketball heading down the stretch.
Just one more regular season game for Virginia. The Cavaliers will travel to Louisville for a 4 p.m. tip-off on Saturday. Then it's off to Greensboro for the ACC Tournament. Covering Virginia, I'm Natalie Calabat.
Thank you, Natalie. Good to see that crew getting things right at just the right time. You know that Coach Bennett has always got the plan. Now, for more on what they're going to be facing in Louisville, we're going to turn things over to Randall Parmley, who's got the latest on Coach Mack and the Cards. Randall.
Well, another week, another game lost for the Louisville Cardinals due to COVID. The good news, though, this time it wasn't the Cards testing positive. Wednesday's game against Virginia Tech canceled due to COVID issues with the Hokies. Now, that means Louisville will take a modest 2-game winning streak into its season finale this weekend against Virginia. Now, Louisville picked up its 13th win of the season in style last weekend, beating Duke in overtime at the Yum Center, 80-73. Carlik Jones was the man late, scoring 7 of his 25 points in overtime to help the Cards get the season sweep against the Blue Devils. In fact, Louisville has now won 3 in a row against Duke, and that may just be the type of momentum they will need going into this weekend's matchup with Virginia. The Cards have lost 9 of 10 to the Cavaliers. Getting that turned around would definitely be a shot in the arm as Louisville heads to the ACC Tournament next week. Covering the Louisville Cardinals, I'm Randall Parmley.
Thank you, Randall. Special shout out to Louisville forward Jalen Withers, who shared ACC Freshman of the Week honors. Withers averaged 14 points and 11 rebounds in wins over Notre Dame and Duke. He was 11 of 21, shot 52.4% from the field in the 2 wins. Don't bother looking it up. We double-checked that one. Withers produced his 3rd double-double of the season with 12 points and a career-high 13 rebounds against Notre Dame, followed up with 16 points and 9 boards in that OT win at Duke. His 9th game this season with 9 or more rebounds. His offensive rebound with 10 seconds remaining in regulation at Duke preserved the Cards' possession, and the game went into OT. All right, everybody. You know what time it is. How about some ACC trivia? You know the rules. Don't cheat. Come on. Be real about this now. Don't get the Google out, right? Put the phones away. Here we go. Since the inception of the ACC, just 3 teams have won the ACC regular season title, ACC tournament title, and NCAA tournament title all in one season. Who are they? Here's a hint. One of these teams completed this twice. Incredible if you stop and think about it. All right, think everyone, think. We're going to come back with this answer to this question in just a few. Don't Google it. Come on now. You do this the right way, you know. I know you're watching this on your computer, but stay with me. Come on. Moving on, NC State got career nights from a pair of freshmen on Wednesday as the Pack just keeps rolling along late in the season. Cam Hayes scored a career-high 20 points to lead the Pack to an 80-69 road win over Notre Dame, and fellow freshman Darion Seaborn had a night to remember as well, nabbing his first double-double with career highs, 17 points and 13 rebounds. CBS Todd Gibson has so much more on a team nobody wants to play at this time.
The hottest team in the ACC is NC State. The Pack has won 5 straight games, and now with Saturday's home game against Virginia Tech canceled, the Pack will head off to the ACC Tournament looking to make some noise.
Man, I feel great. I mean, you think about that, we have had a heck of a February and not so good of a January. And, you know, it's a great feeling. Winning is a great thing. I told the team, man, when you win, everything's better. And our guys feel good about themselves. They're doing a tremendous job in all areas because of that. And I'm happy where the team's at. You know, obviously, we don't feel like we're done. We've got work to do.
The ACC tournament is in Greensboro. So when I was young, I used to go and watch the games a lot. And just me being able to be on the ACC team and being able to play in the ACC tournament is going to mean a lot to me. So it's actually kind of crazy. You know, I'm smiling really hard because like it's kind of like a dream come true for me, and I'm just living my dream right now.
The winning streak we on, so like we have the confidence and we know that we can win games. So us just on this winning streak, it just make us feel more comfortable going to the ACC tournament, knowing that we can win a couple games and get deep into the tournament.
NC State still hopes to schedule an opponent for Saturday, although it is a long shot. But if not, the Pack will head off to the ACC tournament, a team no one wants to face. Following the Wolfpack in Raleigh, I'm Todd Gibson.
Thank you, Todd. Well, we were supposed to see the Wolfpack this Saturday when they were going to take on Virginia Tech, but that game has been canceled due to COVID issues within the Virginia Tech program. For the latest on the Hokies and what's going on up there, we're going to check in with Jermaine Farrell of WFXR, who's covering Virginia Tech for us. Jermaine, what's going on?
The COVID-19 troubles once again has hit the Virginia Tech men's basketball team. Due to contact tracing and quarantining, a review for the COVID-19 within the Virginia Tech men's basketball program, Tuesday's game against Louisville at the Castle and Saturday's game at NC State was canceled, ending the regular season for the Hokies. The Hokies just came off of a COVID-19 pause, as last Saturday they played their second game off of the pause after a game against Wake Forest. What a difference a few days can make for the Virginia Tech Hokies men's basketball team. Last Tuesday, coming off a 17-day break due to COVID-19, the Hokies struggled in a 16-point loss to Georgia Tech. Saturday was a different game and story as the Hokies got back on track in a 38-point win over Wake Forest.
I was as nervous as I've been all year on Saturday with the Demon Deacons coming in here, and we got our team back. They were connected. They played with rage. They played with their hair on fire. They communicated. We got our team back.
One of the keys to the Virginia Tech men's basketball team having a strong season is the emergence of Keve Aluma.
If you could see him, I've got a picture when he committed to us on his official visit. He's a big, heavy, fluffy young man. But I'll tell you one thing: when he starts moving, it's something that grabs you. You know, he didn't play basketball until his freshman or sophomore year in high school, I think it was. He played soccer, some of the things he does. Like every night, he does something around the basket. He does something on the perimeter when he puts the ball on the floor. Jay Huff, for instance, Jay's a really good defender. And this guy shot fakes Jay back in January and goes between his legs, and I think he dunked the ball. He came from in front of Virginia's bench and got all the way to the rim and dunked it. He had one of those, you could see it most every night. Very unique in that regard. Man, is he a matchup issue for everyone. Glad he's in Blacksburg.
Tech will get a double bye in next week's ACC Tournament in Greensboro as they're scheduled to play next Thursday. Covering the Virginia Tech Hokies, I'm Jermaine Farrell.
Thanks as always, Jermaine. Appreciate it. Moving on here after losing a tough game to NC State, the Pitt Panthers opened one up on Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons, they just showed them. And they showed they are still a team to be reckoned with, even without a pair of their best players. Coach Capel made sure to let everyone know how proud he was of his crew for playing as a team, playing tough defense, and for going out on top with a win on senior night in the Berg. The last two games show the team in Pittsburgh is just that, a team. Despite all that has happened with players leaving, et cetera, they could have fallen apart, but they didn't. They could have packed it in, didn't. And instead, they not only showed up, but gave NC State all they could handle and took down a scrappy Wake Forest team. Was it a surprise to Coach they would fight like this? Not one bit.
I think this team understands how much we need each other. I think they enjoy being around each other. I just think that they have, the adversity maybe has bonded us. Again, I don't pay attention to what's said or talked about or written because I'm in it. I know, but these guys do. So I think maybe they feel like they have something to prove.
Next game for the Panthers on the road this Saturday. They take on the Clemson Tigers inside Little John Coliseum. Tip time is set for noon. Got to get up early to watch that one, basketball fans. For the latest on the Tigers and how they're adjusting, we head to WSBA's Pete Yannity for the latest on that crew. Pete?
The first of 2 games in the final week of the regular season had Clemson on the road at Syracuse on Wednesday. The Dome is always a tough place to play, but keep in mind it was empty, kind of adding a weird factor. Interestingly, Clemson shot just 22% in the opening half of play, but trailed by just 3 at the break. And out of the halftime locker room, Syracuse went on a run in which they built a double-figure advantage. The Orange moving on to the 10-point win, 64-54. Tigers were led by Alex Hemingway and Alamir Dawes, the guards with 11 points each. But certainly a tough loss in a usually tough place to play that was made even tougher due to its emptiness.
It's a great venue, but it's, you know, obviously I've been here with 30,000 people. You feel like it's a bad night when they have 16,000 come watch you play on a snowy Tuesday at 9 o'clock. But it was different tonight, just with nobody in here, you know, and a little bit of a different shooting deal. Obviously had no bearing on the game.
No doubt the loss certainly damaged the Tigers' hopes of finishing among the upper few teams in the conference. With 1 game to go, it was Clemson's 6th loss of the year overall, and they fall to 9-6 in ACC play. Next up, a visit Saturday from the Pitt Panthers, a noon tip-off that'll be the final game before Clemson heads to Greensboro and tries to make an ACC tourney run, presumably already with an NCAA bid in hand. Covering the Clemson Tigers, I'm Pete Yanity.
Good stuff, Pete. Thank you. Meanwhile, North Carolina's inconsistency was on display once again over the past week. And with the biggest rivalry game in college basketball coming up this Saturday, they're hoping to play their potential. They're hoping to play to their potential, rather. Alyssa, take it away, please.
Chris, when UNC upset Florida State Saturday, many thought they won their way into the NCAA tournament. Then they came out flat and lost to Syracuse on Monday. Now with the Duke game looming, Carolina is still working through some growing pains. In their 72-70 loss to the Orange, the Tar Heels had 20 turnovers. We know their strength is in their front court, but to win an ACC game, you also need contributions from outside the paint. UNC was 4 for 20 on 3-point shots, and the guards struggled to score. But the past doesn't matter when it comes to the Battle of the Blues, and neither does either team's records. The Duke-Carolina game is always one to watch.
I don't think it changes inside at all. You know, it is Duke, North Carolina. The rivalry is there regardless. You know, people say that the games always live up to the hype, and I don't think any of them live up to the hype if we lose, so it depends on what you're looking for.
Yes, the ACC tournament is days away. Yes, the NCAA tournament is on the horizon, but I can tell you one thing right now. This team only has one thing on their mind, and that's Duke. Covering the Tar Heels, I'm Melissa Ray.
Thank you, Alyssa. And congrats to co-freshman of the week, Walker Kessler. He averaged 15 points and 6 rebounds last week in games against Marquette, number 11 Florida State. Tied his season high with 10 points and 5 of 6 shooting against Marquette. Then had season and game highs in points, rebounds, offensive rebounds, blocks, and field goals in the win over ACC leader Florida State. Made 9 of 10 field goals against the Seminoles. Was 14 of 16 from the floor the 2 games. He led UNC to a comeback win over the Seminoles, who led the Tar Heels by 16 points in the first half and by 12 at the break. Kessler was one of 4 UNC freshmen to score in double figures. First time in UNC history, all 4 double-figure scorers were freshmen. And the Tar Heels going to wrap up the season Saturday, just like Alyssa said, at the Dean Dome against the Duke Blue Devils. Tip time for that thing is set for 6 p.m. How about them Blue Devils? Yeah, they had a pathway to the tournament. Slim one anyway, but, you know, a path nonetheless. They needed to win out, but back-to-back losses to Louisville and Georgia Tech, they have all but pretty much taken that chance away from them. Now they need a big showing in the ACC tournament. Some say they got to win it all to make it in. But wait. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. First up, their date with UNC, where a W would go a long way in helping them plead their case.
In the games, but just the way we approach them. We know those 2 games really meant a lot to us. And not getting those 2 games, we know the chances kind of hurt us for our posting chances. But at the same time, the team is very upbeat because we know that we still have opportunity. Knowing everything we've been through, I mean, there is still a very real opportunity that we can still have a chance to make the tournament. And so all the guys are definitely up about that. You know, we know it has to start Saturday.
The first game against Carolina, I felt like the first half we didn't really move a lot. You know, is really, you know, go one-on-one, you know, ball screen. So I think just trying to get movement because we know they're going to high contest and, you know, try to speed us up. But, you know, we just have to stay patient and, you know, back screen, screens, everything. So we're just going to try just keep moving, especially on offense.
That North Carolina Duke game coming up quick. Always one to watch in the basketball world. So let's get to head coach Mike Krzyzewski. And coach, last year when Matthew Hurt decided to return, proved to be great for you this go around. What did you all talk about for him improving for this season, and how have you seen him develop, especially recently?
Well, it would have been a really bad decision to go early last year because he wasn't ready. And you know, for really good players, you know, there's an evolution of there's a progress that you need to make. And he, you know, his quickness, his strength, not just his foot quickness, but his speed at which he played, got his shot off, you know, how he moved, just his whole movement thing needed to get a lot quicker. And he knew that. And, you know, you learn from, going from the right lane to the left lane on a highway. You know, you got to learn how to drive in faster traffic, and he's done that. And I think he's made a significant jump in the last few weeks. He's gotten even better in these last few weeks. So he's in a really good groove here and he still is going to get better, you know, whether it's here or, you know, in the pros. He's going to, because he'll work at it. He's been a really good worker, and he's talked more, you know, and when you talk, you play better. You move quicker. The louder you talk, the better you play, not to an opponent, but to your teammates and to yourself. And he's learned how to do he's learned to do that. And he'll get that at a higher level.
Now, when you do hit the floor in the Dean Dome, it's going to be with fans. Now, there were no fans at Cameron the first game due to COVID, but how is that going to be, that ambiance in the arena, if you will? Not just UNC fans, but Duke fans also, and family is going to be able to see you all play as well.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about the families first. You know, in any of the games, when the other school, look, we followed the protocol of what anyone's doing. They have the right to determine their locale, and a number of teams have given the 40 tickets, and that's helped wherever we've gone. You know, it helped at Georgia Tech, and to me, they've done the fan thing the best. Although we haven't gone to Carolina, so they might do it as well or better, but. You know, for a whole year, whole season, Georgia Tech has done it that way, and it makes you miss the old days and look forward to the future when you have fans back in the stands. You know, for our sport, you know, won't be back completely until you get fans, because there's the intimacy there. In our game, you know, my XM show today, I had Williams, the new assistant GM. I don't know if he's the assistant with the Hurricanes, and he was great. And this is the first night where the Caniacs come back, and he was talking about how hockey was in a bubble and how their guys are so excited about, you know, because there's this too, you know, in an arena, and you know, we're looking forward to it. Obviously, it's especially for Duke Carolina, it's always better when fans are there.
And keeping with Carolina here, how rare is it that the Carolina Tar Heels have not one but 4 big men, especially in today's college game? I mean, and that they're as talented as they are.
Yeah, well, they all are at that level of talent, and they're extremely well coached, so they'll have a chance to do that. And you know, they play in a great program. You know, that's been North Carolina's one of the things they do, you know, over the years. And you know, it started with Dean, a lot of things started with Dean, a lot of good things. And his staff, they really did a great job of personal development, and their system really accentuates the talents of big guys. And so very unique. Again, I haven't watched a bunch of basketball around the country, but in our league, there's really no other team like that. I know Michigan has. I don't know their personnel. I don't know if anybody has. I know I've seen Iowa play. They have Garza, and then they have a bunch of shooters and good players. But to have four guys where you're not worried about foul trouble, and if one of them is playing a little bit better than the other, they always play well, then you can kind of ride that. So very unique and tough to defend. They're fresh on the boards all the time, and they're fresh in running the court, and that's a big advantage.
And I'm guessing with the progress of Mark Williams as of late, does this mean we're going to see a lot more of him this time around than, say, last game?
Yeah, there's no question. And again, now he's got to stay in the game by not committing freshman fouls, and trying to battle where you're using your body, not your hands, and your forearms, the way to legally defend and play in the post. And, that's, you'd like, him to be a junior already and know all those things. But by playing these games, that's how you do get better. And so, but he's obviously more ready now by far than he was. And that's just a few weeks ago, really not that, about a month ago.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Coach. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, these Miami Hurricanes, they got one more game left tomorrow night against Boston College before they close out the regular season. The Canes, despite missing a bunch of people, have been playing some very good basketball. Problem is, they take a few minutes off in a game, turn the ball over a few times, and the opposition takes full advantage. They build an insurmountable lead, and then they're done with their short bench. It's happened all year. It happened Monday against Virginia. The few guys left are having to not just play longer minutes and do more multitasking. They got to do everything. It's a must. Coach explains it best about what they need and what they need to do better.
They got to share the ball on offense. They got to rebound. They got to get back on defense. They got to switch the screens. They got to talk on out of bounds, under. There's a lot of skills you got to bring to the game. The three basic offensive skills are passing, catching, and shooting. And, we just don't do those three things as a team at a high enough level.
Miami Hurricanes will wrap up the regular season tomorrow night when they take on Boston College in the Watsco Center in Coral Gables. Tip time is set for 6 p.m. for that one. And been one of the roughest years for Boston College, man. Losing games due to COVID, losing their coach, losing games, period. One thing they have not lost, though, is that competitive spirit. You haven't seen the team come apart or implode like some organizations might if they went through just half of what the Eagles have gone through. Interim coach Scott Spinelli addressed his team's temperament after their most recent game with Florida State.
Being around these leagues as long as, we've been around them, you can't get too low. You've got to move on and learn from this. But we'll watch film and we'll talk to the guys. We'll work on some of these things that, we'll continue to break down on, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And, we'll get ready to play Miami on Friday night. But our guys, I think, are still engaged. They're engaged, and they're a good bunch and they're going to be fine.
All right, so that trivia question from a moment ago. Did you figure it out? Here's a question one last time. Since the inception of the ACC, 3 teams have won the ACC regular season title, ACC tournament title, and the NCAA tournament title all in one season. Who are they? Again, here's that hint. One of these teams completed this twice. Think a second. Are you ready for the answer? No Googling. Come on now. All right, here you go. It's North Carolina during that famous 56-57 undefeated season. NC State in 73-74 with David Thompson and his crew. And Duke They're the ones that have done it twice. 91-92. You all remember that story, Christian Laettner. Come on now, you can't forget that one. The Blue Devils did it again during the 2000-2001 season as well. Thanks for playing along with that and for not Googling it. It takes the fun out of things here. Come on now. Moving on, at the beginning of the season, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, they did not look like a very good team. Back-to-back losses to Georgia State and Mercer had fans wondering if it would be better to just kind of pack this whole thing in and wait until next year. Now, they're glad they didn't, as the Yellow Jackets have turned in one of the most notable seasons in program history. Think about it. This year, they've beaten Kentucky, North Carolina, and this week, they took down Duke in overtime at home to finish off their home schedule. I mean, wins against any of those teams in a year is great. All three, that's incredible. They got 14 wins in their last 15 ACC home games, 5 straight ACC wins, all from a team that folks had written off and is now making their case to be included in the NCAA big dance here coming up.
The character of those young men to stick together, to fight, to scrap, to kick, to claw, to do whatever's necessary to find a way to win, to have that competitive excellence, that competitive fire, that motor, everything's about motor and energy. And that's what these guys have, man, the motor and energy. And they're resilient. I mean, the resiliency of these young men is just fantastic.
They showed love to me when I didn't feel like I needed love, and like I just made them feel like I brought them down sometimes because of my action on the court sometimes, but they just stood by my side and kept holding me accountable on being the best Jose, and I just love them so much.
Big shout out to Moses Wright on winning the ACC Player of the Week award. Wright averaged 28.5 points and 13 rebounds per game as Georgia Tech defeated number 16 Virginia Tech 69-53 on the road and Syracuse 84-77 at home. He was 23 of 36 from the field and posted double-doubles in both wins. His 57 points were the second most in back-to-back games by an ACC player this season. Against Syracuse, he scored 19 of his 31 in the second half, making 8 of 12 shots from the floor with 6 dunks as Tech rallied from a 5-point halftime deficit. He hit 14 of 25 shots from the floor in the game, and his 16 rebounds were a career high in an ACC game. Player of the Week? Oh, for sure. Coach Pastner? Oh, he thinks there's a lot more in store.
Moses Wright's as good as any player in the country right now. I mean, there's no denying that. Kelly, it was us and Catawba, whatever the school, I forget the exact how you pronounce it, was the only other offer he had, Division II. Think about that. And then Moses' buy-in and his development. Guys, he's only been playing basketball for about 6.5 years. He was into tennis and swimming. He only picked up a basketball his sophomore year of high school. And so where he is to where he is now, it's an incredible story.
College coaches all over are running to pools and tennis courts as we speak to try to find the next Moses Wright. Georgia Tech's going to finish out the regular season tomorrow night when they take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons in Winston-Salem. To see what the Jackets will be facing when we turn things over to WGHP's Clara Goodwin, who's been covering the Deacs for us all year. Clara.
There are always growing pains after a coaching change, and Wake Forest is certainly suffering through those right now after getting beat by Pitt 70-57. The losing streak for the Deacons has reached 6 straight games. Unlike some of the previous losses, Wake Forest was in this game. Now the struggle remains on the offensive end of the floor.
You have to be able to score at the rim, fellas, or around you can't just make threes and win basketball games. And I think we've done a good job of getting there for a team that's skill level is probably below average, and that's, again, no disrespect to my team, but it's just being honest. We're not a team that is going to, go in there and drive you to the basket every time and finish. But when you get there, man, it's sometimes it's deflating again when you get right to the rim and you can't make plays.
All right, in addition to being honest, Steve Forbes is also optimistic. Despite the disappointments, the effort is still there. It's more about the execution.
The morale has not been, I would tell you, man, these guys continue to please me by coming here every day and trying hard and listening and having, and the thing I've been trying to I've really been pushing is play to have fun, play for each other.
when you do something for somebody, it makes the game a lot more enjoyable.
Well, we still got a good opportunity at home against Georgia Tech Friday, and then hopefully we can get a win there and then take that momentum into the ACC tournament, because I'm still positive. I mean, the team's still positive. Our morale is good. I mean, we're practicing hard. We're still going hard every day. So.
All right, now the month of March has been a struggle for Wake Forest, and that was under Jeff Buzdelic, Danny Manning, and now Steve Forbes. Long term, that has to change, and everybody knows it. Covering Wake Forest, I'm Kevin Conley.
See, Claire is looking a little different there. Sorry about that, Kevin. Appreciate that, though, for the report. Moving on here, the Syracuse Orange wrapped up their season last night with a win over Clemson in the Carrier Dome. Their next stop, Greensboro in the ACC Tournament to wrap up their regular season. We turn things over to the man that's been covering the team all year for us. Yes, I'm talking about Mario Sacco.
For the second time in 3 days, the Syracuse Orange avenged an early season loss. Syracuse shook off a slow start, snapping Clemson's 5-game winning streak. It wasn't pretty at times, but at this time of year, you'll take any win you can get, especially in the ACC.
This team's fought hard all year. We started out the year, we had to fight to scrape out wins. You know, we were better defensively, making them take a tough shot, coming over to help better. I just think our defense was really good. I thought it was good against Carolina. We just give up so many offensive rebounds to them, those big guys. But, they played with a lot of heart. They've gotten better.
We're all in it together. And we just kept battling throughout the whole game. We know we started off a little shaky, but, we finished really strong. It was just fun, we competed, we battled. Everyone played a big part, a big piece in it, and, getting ready for the tournament now.
SU has won 6 out of their last 9 games. They finished with a record of 13-1 at home this season. Covering the Orange at the Carrier Dome, Mario Sacco.
We are coming down to the final games of the regular season. One last weekend of action in the ACC before the conference tournament tips off. So let's bring on Jason Logan of Covers.com to get us thinking straight on who to go with. And first question right off the top here, Jason. Who do the books like to win the ACC tournament right now, and which team could be that sleeper pick?
Yeah. So heading into the final weekend of action, Florida State is the overall favorite to win the ACC tournament at plus 230. Virginia's recent skid put a little distance between them and the Noles, with the Cavaliers sitting as a second overall faves at plus 400. That's followed by North Carolina plus 500, Virginia Tech plus 600, and Louisville plus 650. And then you got Duke and Georgia Tech up next at plus 1100. And Clemson is at plus 2,000, Syracuse plus 3,000. And after that, you can kind of get the rest of the ACC anywhere between plus 5,500 and plus 20,000 if you think BC can pull this off. As far as a sleeper, though, let's not forget about the Clemson Tigers. They were the team to beat early in the early stages of the ACC schedule. They hit a skid in the second half of January, but they've started to get right here. They had that loss to Syracuse the other night, but this Tigers team has a solid defense. They're ranked 12th in both adjusted defensive efficiency, which is an extremely valuable advanced metric, and also in points allowed per game. They give up just 61.8 points against on the season. Clemson also had some impressive wins here on the year. Here, they knocked off Alabama, Maryland, and Purdue in non-conference play. They beat Florida State in ACC play there. So the Tigers, they do have what it takes to win these big games, and I think they present some great value at plus 2,000 odds.
Now, Duke and North Carolina go at it again in the season finale, and there's more on the line than just Tobacco Road bragging rights here. Which team needs this win the most, and what should bettors look for in this game?
Sure. You could say Duke, but I mean, after back-to-back losses, it looks like those NCAA tourney hopes have sailed for the Blue Devils, at least from an at-large standpoint. Puts a lot of pressure on UNC to perform in this one, and they're firmly planted on that tournament bubble right now heading into the weekend. North Carolina projected as a first 4 team by some of those bracketologists out there. So that means the margin for error is very, very thin or non-existent. And this rivalry has been dominated by the road team as far as bettors are concerned. The visiting team in Tobacco Road rivalry is 28-16-1 ATS since the 96-97 season. That's covering 64% of the time. That includes UNC picking up the win and cover in Durham in early February. And underdogs have also had the big teeth in this rivalry as well. 2 dogs, 30-23-1 ATS in any of these meetings, home, road, or neutral court between these two teams. North Carolina will be giving the points to the Blue Devils on Saturday. Coach K's kids would love nothing more than to throw a wrench into the Tar Heels NCAA tournament plans, that's for sure.
And these Virginia Cavaliers, they snapped a 3-game losing skid versus Miami last time out. But Cavs fans have to wonder which team shows up against Louisville in the final game of the regular season. How do you see this one playing out?
Yes, so Virginia's had some defensive lapses in that very solid defense during that series of games, but offensively too, they just have not been shooting well, especially from beyond the arc, and that's been a strength for Tony Bennett's team here. On the season, the Cavaliers hit about 39.2% of their three-point makes, which is 10th best in the country. However, over the past 4 games, Virginia's only hitting 35.8. They've seen that three-point production dip from an average of almost 9 triples per game to just over 7 in those past 4 contests. And you may be saying, well, that doesn't seem like a whole lot in terms of jump in success or dip in success. But when you only average 68.5 points per game, those 3-pointers are vital. They make up close to 40% of that team's total offense coming from distance. So Louisville, pretty good job of keeping their heels above the 3-point line and playing defense against those 3-point shooters. They allow only 30.5% 3-point success against opponents, and that drops to 29.4 at home. The Cards had their matchup with VT canceled due to the COVID issues with the Hokies there. That leaves them fresh for this matchup. Louisville currently in 4th in the ACC standings, in position to get one of those valuable double byes in the tournament. So they definitely don't want to let go of that. And you look at the possible total for this one, you have 2 defensive-minded first programs. However, if we look at the past results between these teams, the over is cashed in 6 of the last 8 meetings between the Cards and the Cavs. Another note here for those kind of keeping track of the point spreads, Louisville could be a slim home dog for this one. And if that does happen, it's going to be the first time that the Cardinals were getting points at home since February 23rd, 2019. They were a 5-point home pup to Virginia. They lost 64-52 in that game. Louisville has been a home underdog only 15 times since 2003. And they're 7-8 ATS in those games. So definitely want to see that point spread in the total for this finale.
He's Jason Logan of Covers.com. Thanks again for the help, my friend. Always good to hear from Jason. Now, before we get to the standings, some former yet recent ACC talent is going to be all over the NBA's All-Star Weekend. So after you're done watching Duke and North Carolina, just flip the channel over and check out some of the league's rising talent produced from this conference. Former Duke star phenom Zion Williamson going to be making his first appearance in the NBA All-Star game, the first of likely many to come. The second-year forward is averaging nearly 20 points per game and a hair over 7 rebounds per game for the New Orleans Pelicans. Another former Duke Blue Devil, Jason Tatum, is going to make his second All-Star appearance and his first as a starter in the game. Tatum replaced Brooklyn Nets forward Kevin Durant as a starter due to Durant's injuries. The third-year forward is averaging a career-high 24.9 points per game to go with just under 7 rebounds a contest as well. And you'll also get to see former Virginia Cavalier DeAndre Hunter of the Atlanta Hawks and former Virginia Tech Hokie Nickeil Alexander-Walker of the New Orleans Pelicans and a pair of former Duke teammates in Williamson and R.J. Barrett, who plays for the New York Knicks in the NBA's Rising Stars game. Always fun to watch the young guys go at it. And lastly, former Duke guard Cassius Stanley will get to show off his athleticism when he competes in the always interesting NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Seen him throw down to Cameron so many times. I can't wait to see the creativity on the big stage. All right, Florida State maintains the top spot as we head into the final weekend of ACC regular season hoops. Virginia is holding firm to the 2 spot. It's followed up by Virginia Tech and Louisville. Watch out, Louisville, as your top 4 spot could be taken with a loss and a win by these guys. Talking about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Yes, with the Cardinals' loss and a Georgia Tech win, the Jackets could grab a top 4 seed for the double bye in the ACC Tournament. Incredible. Clemson is 6, followed by UNC, who would be the 7th seed if the tournament began today. Syracuse rounds out the top 8. NC State riding a 5-game winning streak. They're currently in 9th. Duke would be 10th if the tournament began today. Pitt is 11th, followed by Notre Dame at number 12. Wake Forest remains 13th, Miami 14th, and Boston College remains in last place at 2-10 in conference play. Remember, though, everybody is 0-0 when the tournament comes. I've seen some strange things happen. Teams get hot, You only got to win a handful of games coming up this next week. It's going to be great. Thanks for joining us for Chase for the Championship. Remember, this is our final regular season show, but you can catch us right here next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 11 a.m. So, turn us on at work and turn the volume down, put the headphones in. We'll catch up on all the day's games. And Saturday, it's going to be at 6:30 as we get you the latest and greatest on the ACC Tournament. That's it for me from here for now. I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 11.